Hi there, my name is teacher Ilona Smith. Welcome to my channel. Grade 11s, let's dive into business sectors. Alright, so let's dive into business sectors. This is part of term 1 for grade 11. It's quite a nice topic and it's also quite a short topic. So let's go. Alright, here is the textbook that I've made use of to create these slides for today. I take no credit in the information given in these slides and for the content given in these slides. I have used it from the Department of Education textbook, and I've used it as is. As we know, for business studies, we have to write it word for word. Therefore, changing the wording might change the context, and that's definitely not what I want to do by disadvantaging learners. That's not what I want. So I've made use of it as is, and to make sure it's accurate, relevant, and correct for learners. All right, introduction. So you've done this in grade 10 already. You dived into the meaning of the three different sectors, and you also looked at the relationship between the three sectors. But now in this year, the focus is going to be on the link or relationship between the three sectors. And then also we are going to just do a bit of a recap of the three sectors. And then we are going to see how they are grouped and classified with the three sectors. So let's go. All right, so here we have primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors. Try not to confuse them with the business environment. So when we're talking business environments, we are talking about micro, macro market. When we are talking about sectors, we are talking primary, secondary, tertiary. So just try and remember that and try not to confuse it when they do ask it in an exam or a test. So primary. The primary sector deals with the extraction, the collection, cultivating of raw materials and natural resources. These natural resources include things like livestock, fish, timber, coal, and gold. Examples of industries is the agricultural industry, fishing, forestry, and mining. Okay, it's important to know the industries. I've seen it a lot in section A, where they'll ask you, for example, the mining industry forms part of which sector? If you didn't study that, you're going to get a bit stuck. The secondary sector. This sector transforms the raw materials that we are given from the primary sector, and we are transforming them and changing them into finished products or sometimes unfinished products. In this sector, the raw material can be converted from the primary into a new product. So sectors, industries include manufacturing, construction, factories, and then electricity generation. So I'm going to use a few examples here. My one example I like to use is the example of a sheep. So in the primary sector, we have a sheep and we shear the wool because remember, it's livestock, or we can see it as almost a raw material. So we're shearing the wool. The wool then goes to secondary. In secondary, we are making the wool into usable wool, as in yarn, that we can knit stuff into, a knit fabric. And then in tertiary, we are going to sell those knitted fabrics or those jerseys or scarves or whatever we've made to the final customer. The second example that I like to use sometimes is the example of a tree. In the primary sector, we are chopping down the tree. So we chopping down the tree, primary sector. Then we move to secondary sector, where we are taking that wood that we've chopped down in primary and we are making it into a bench. And then in tertiary, we are selling that bench to consumers. So it's just nice little examples to help you remember the link between the three and where each one gets placed. Now tertiary. Tertiary refers to industries that offer services to other businesses and consumers. This sector is also known as a services industry, which exists to facilitate the transportation, distribution, and sale of goods produced in the primary sector. Industries include financing, hospitality, retailers, wholesalers, storage, tourism, and transportation. So merely by transporting a good, we are then talking tertiary. So we've sheared the sheep, we've made it into usable wool or yarn. Now we are transporting it to the warehouse. So we are tertiary. Remember, the transportation of it is tertiary. All right, let's look at the link and the relationship between the three environments. This is very, 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 very important. I can't stress it enough. They love to ask this because it's such a short chapter and you've done this chapter in grade 10 already. They like to focus on the link and the relationship more than asking you the difference between the three different sectors. Sorry about that. So the primary, secondary, and tertiary sectors all work together to create an economic chain of production. The primary sector extracts raw materials, the secondary sector then transforms those raw materials into products, and then the tertiary sector sells these products and supports the activities of the other two sectors, and then businesses are therefore, it's interrelated and they are interconnected. We are not able to make a wooden bench if we haven't chopped down the tree. Okay, so, and we can't make wool jerseys if we haven't even sheared the sheep from the wool. So they do all work together and they all work hand in hand to make that effective economic chain. So examples of forward link. Okay, so this is forming part of the relationship between the three. Examples of forward link. Trees are planted, grown, and harvested in the primary sector because they are going to be used in the secondary sector to manufacture either furniture, paper, or timber for the construction company. The furniture, paper, or timber are manufactured. There are retailers in the tertiary sector who are prepared to then sell these products to the final consumer. Finished goods are transported to retailers who in turn sell the final product to consumers. All right, on the next slide, I'm going to explain a little bit more because it's got a bit of a diagram. All right, just there quickly, some businesses are interdependent and rely on other businesses to perform some of their functions in order to operate efficiently. These functions do not form part of the activity of the business. So here we can see clearly, so forward link, I like to think about a train that's moving forward. So we are going from primary to secondary to tertiary. You can see we are chopping down the wood, then we are shaping it to make nice wood planks, and then we are moving it to the tertiary via transportation and via the truck. Maybe that truck is even going to a customer. Okay, so you can see forward link, we are moving forward as it was intended to be, primary, secondary, tertiary. Now we have an interesting one. We have backward link. So we are now effectively going backwards. Okay, it includes a bit of forward, but there's more emphasis on the backward link of this. So the illustration below shows the interdependent relationships between the different sectors. This is an example of a backward link where primary sector depends on secondary sector for manufactured goods and tertiary sector offering services to the secondary sector and to the primary sector. Okay, bear with me. So here we have an example. You can see primary sector, we have a mine. Secondary sector, we have the tools. All right. So a manufacturing company, which is in the secondary sector, so they're in step 2 if we must, may provide a mining company who is in the primary sector, the first step, with the machinery and equipment it needs to operate its business. I can't mine gold or minerals if I don't have the tools. Now, where are those tools made? In the secondary sector. So can you see we went from extracting the raw materials from primary, moving to secondary to make those raw materials, and then where do we go? We bring them back to primary so that we can extract it. Same as chopping down a tree. I can't just chop down a tree with my own bare hands. I need tools. Those tools are made in secondary. So do you see how we went a bit forward, but now the emphasis is going backward link. So the secondary sector is going backward to help the primary sector. Another example is a mining company, again, primary sector, the first sector, may outsource the management of their information systems to a specialist IT company who is in the tertiary sector. So do you see the last sector, tertiary, is going backwards to help primary with their IT systems. It's very cool. I was watching a program the other day where they had, it was an architectural archaeology, sorry, program, where they actually showed pyramids. So they've got this machinery and technology nowadays where they take a drone and it scans the area, and it can actually see of that pyramid what is lying beneath the ground without actually having to excavate and dig underneath the ground. So they could see that there were passageways, tunnels, and tombs below the surface, which I think is really awesome. So they could use such technologies with the mines as well. But again, tertiary sector helping, primary going backwards. Then another example here is a manufacturing company who is in the secondary sector, the one in the middle, may outsource management of their information system to an IT specialist. So now that again, secondary is getting help from tertiary with the IT specialist company. Some businesses are also interdependent within each of the sectors, which makes use of the other ones that they offer. So here are some more examples below. So now the third type of relationship is the interdependence within a sector. Okay, don't let that huge word fool you. Okay, let's just break it down quickly. If you are dependent, it means that you need someone. Babies are dependent on their parents because they're not able to fend for themselves. But then when we're moving to independent, it means you have full control and you're completely, it's an adult that pays their own rent, goes to work, pays for their vehicle, pays for their groceries, and that person has full control. They are independent. They don't need help from anyone. Interdependence is where I don't necessarily need your help, but you know what? It would work in both of our benefits if we do work together. Okay, so it's not that I'm dependent on you, but I'm not independent. It's that it's just a nice way of saying, like, I would like your help, if that makes sense. I hope that helps. All right, so a cattle farmer in primary sector depends on a lucrine farmer who's also in primary sector to provide them with the feed. Now, in all honesty, the cattle farmer could provide their own feed. They could have a whole plant on the side that makes the feed and provides it for the cows and the cattle to eat. But here they're helping another business. Maybe it's easier, maybe it's cheaper to get the other business, but you see how primary is helping primary. They are on the same level. That's what we're talking about, interdependence. All right, then let's look at the secondary. So a motor car manufacturer who's in secondary depends on a battery manufacturer who's also in secondary to provide them with batteries. Okay, very simple. I cannot make a vehicle if I don't have a battery. Same as the windows. Okay, the windows are going to be made for a car in the secondary sector because remember, we are transforming raw materials into a finished product. Okay, so we are doing the transformation of those materials. So do you see how secondary again is relying on secondary? But now this car manufacturer could make their own batteries. But again, maybe it's cheaper. Maybe it's just better for the economy that they're helping this battery company and it benefits both of them. Okay, secondary helping secondary. Then we have tertiary. So retailers who is in the tertiary sector may require the services of an insurance company who is also in tertiary. Again, tertiary helping tertiary. All right, then some mind map recap time. So here's a nice mind map. I think out of all the mind maps that this textbook has, this is probably the best one. I would definitely, if I was a student, copy this down in my textbook. The thing I like about it is it shows visually the forward link and it shows the backward link in a nice diagram. And it's giving you nice little bite sizes. I mean, you can see there's extraction of raw materials for primary. Secondary has transformation of these raw materials. Tertiary has services. So it's a nice diagram to see the whole chapter in a nutshell. And then here are the resources that I've made use of to make this video today. As I mentioned, I take no credit and I've used the resources as is. I just want to thank you for watching my video today. I hope it was helpful. Nice little short video compared to some of my other videos that are a lot longer. So if you found this video to be insightful and helpful, please give it a thumbs up and a like. Please comment down below if you have any questions or if there's anything like videos that you're looking forward to in the future that you would like me to create. Please consider subscribing to my channel as I'm trying to upload all of the grade 11 content, and I also have content for grade 10 and grade 12 as well. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye for now.